As a Jesuit and a clinical psychologist, I have spent more than a little time considering the definition of health. Good morning. My name is Father Frank Buckley, and I am the host of our morning meditation group, Flourishing During Challenging Times. I am delighted to be with all of you from around the globe to build a contemplative community from our Jesuit campus at Blessed Sacrament in Hollywood. If you're new to the program, it's a three-part program. We begin with a little inspiration. The second third is the heart, the meat of the whole program is I ring the bell, we sit in silence for 20 minutes, and then ring the bell to bring us out. And all of the research and scholarly work on spirituality seems to indicate that it's not great to jump right out of meditation and into your day. So we take a couple minutes at the end to do a Jesuit examine. St. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, believed with all his heart in the importance of taking time to reflect on one's life. And Ignatius is not alone. My favorite quote from Socrates, the unreflected life is not worth living. So we just look back over our day and notice where we might have missed God, but even more importantly, where God came alive for us as an active agent and decisive character in our world and in our life. So for the inspiration this morning, we're going to return a little to Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. But before we do, I just want to share with you a little research I've been doing on resilience. Eileen Russell wrote a wonderful book called Restoring Resilience. And it's a very beautiful way of working in the world. And Eileen Russell has a beautiful definition of health. She says, it is letting go of our traditional ways of meeting life. Let me repeat that again. Letting go of our traditional ways of meeting life. And I would love to share with you that by becoming part of our contemplative community, by engaging in a meditation practice every day, by giving the first hour of the day to God, is a way of letting go of maybe how traditionally we've engaged life and engaging life in a new way, prioritizing the morning practice, and then simply noticing how the day unfolds. I am not alone in this. My favorite Jesuit theologian in Divine Milieu, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, says this: we must try to penetrate our most secret self and examine our being from all sides. Let us try patiently to perceive the ocean of forces to which we are subjected and which our growth is, as it were, steeped. This is a salutary exercise. For the depth and universality of our dependence on so much altogether outside our control, all go to make up the embracing intimacy of our communion with the world to which we belong. One of my favorite lines in his whole theology. To make up the embracing intimacy of our communion with the whole world to which we belong. Teilhard goes on to say, and for the first time in my life, perhaps, although I am supposed to meditate every day, I took the lamp and, leaving the zone of everyday occupations and relationships where everything seems so clear, I went down to my innermost self, to that deep abyss whence I feel dimly that my power of action emanates. But as I move further and further away from the conventional certainties by which social life is superficially illuminated, I suddenly became aware that I was losing contact with myself. At each step of the descent, a new person was disclosed within me, of whose name I was no longer even sure, and who no longer obeyed me. And when I had to stop my exploration because the path faded from beneath my steps, I found a bottomless abyss at my feet. The current, which I dare to call my life. Thank you, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. I personally cannot think of any more inspiring inspiration to begin our morning practice. So I invite you, wherever you are, in a tent on Selma Avenue, in an apartment, a park, your home, to find a comfortable position. To unplug all technology, I will set the timer for 20 minutes so we don't have to worry about that. I'll ring the bell, and at the end of 20 minutes I'll ring it again to conclude the meditation. Let's begin. So I invite you to close the eyes or lower the eyes 3/4 way, or gaze at something beautiful, just something that feels safe and comfortable to you. With the eyes lowered, let's begin. Listen, listen. The sound of this beautiful bell returns us to our true home. As always, we begin by bringing fresh oxygen into the brain and the body through diaphragmatic breathing. That is, breathing deeply as possible into the belly 3 times, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Last time. Give it all you got. Inhale and exhale. Continue to breathe on your own. Take the attention to the body. We start with the feet and just become aware of sensations as we press into the green earth, our mother. We move up the body and notice our cushion or chair providing support. Every single one of us needs a little support in life. Let's reflect on where we felt supported recently. And just lean into that support a little bit. Take the attention to the heart, the place the spiritual world touches the physical world. And see if you can come up with something that brings you a little joy and name it in one word. Gently place that word next to your heart. And as a contemplative community, let's all breathe together one time into the joy. Inhale, exhale, and just notice what you feel. Finally, we arrive at the forehead, the area between the eyebrows, the seat of intuition, and we focus on an intention for our morning practice, not being afraid to ask God for something great and beautiful this morning. We'll seal it with an inhale and an exhale. Continue to breathe on your own. Take the attention to the sacred word. Drop down to the ocean floor and enjoy a little deep rest. Please continue. We only have about a minute left, so for this last minute, I invite you just to sprinkle a little joy over your meditation practice and your life. Please continue. Gently bring your attention back to the room. If the eyes were closed, go ahead, open the eyes. Circle the wrist one way, then the other. Shake out anything you may have been holding onto. My friend Father Tim Meyer gave me a great book by I think biologist at Stanford, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And like when the big cat chases them, if they escape, they just shake it off and don't worry about it for the next 25 days, unlike humans. So yeah, shaking is a good way of healing, releasing energy. So the third part of this morning's program is we move into the examine, and we also try to build a little community across the world. So feel free to put anything on the Facebook page. Type in anything that made you come alive recently. Ignatius would say we kind of start with a little place of gratitude, and then we just look over the last 24 hours and notice where God came alive for us today. So, as I shared with you in the beginning of the program, I've been reading Eileen Russell's book, Restoring Resilience. And there's a beautiful little story Eileen tells in there that I really enjoy. I really notice God moving for me around this story. In the recovery world, uh, there is an expression that when we don't act out on the things that nail us down, what we get is a daily reprieve based on our spiritual condition. So the spiritual condition isn't something we kind of build up and it holds us over for a month. It's a daily thing. Relationships occur in our everyday, ordinary lives. So that's why Ignatius thought it was so important to do the examine. And in my morning prayer this morning, so clearly a little story Eileen told came up. And I really love it because I think it gets to what Thich Nhat Hanh called the miracle of mindfulness, how we experience through meditation a miracle in our very ordinary lives. And Eileen talks about she was writing this book on resilience. And any of you who are writers know you can hit little blocks and you need to get away and take a break. So she went to a coffee store, a little coffee shop down the street from where she lived. And when she got there, she ordered coffee and a sandwich. And the rather old man who was the waiter came over, and there were a few glasses and plates left over on the table, and he started removing them. And as he did, he turned to Eileen and he said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "Fine, thank you." And being a therapist and an overall nice person, she returned the conversation and said, "How are you?" And the old waiter replied, I'm in the moment. And Eileen replied, well, that's a good place to be. And he simply answered, it's the only place to be. And meditation, contemplation, at its best, brings us into the present moment with God. Dare we ask for anything more? Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless you.